I'm Susan Ashley, and this is the live Wednesday healing. We do it pretty much every Wednesday, and I take the collective. So I take what people have spoken to me about that week, or what I sense is going on. Sometimes I meditate a little bit beforehand, and then I do a chat with you all, and then I do the healing. So tonight's healing is about releasing negativity. So it's really about releasing any negative cords. Hi, Sasha. Any negative cords, any negative individuals or conversations, images, things like this. Hi, Matea. We throughout the day, hi, Katia, we collect other people's energy. And that shapes, we know it from kids, it shapes our responses, it shapes the way we live our lives, but it also shapes what we feel about ourselves. Hi, Yasna. So the idea this evening is to release any negative frequency that may be attached to you. Hi, Matea. Or that you may be attached to. Like sometimes we, are thinking about, hi Wendy, thanks. Sometimes we're thinking about how other people did us wrong, or hi Katia, how other people did us wrong, or we want them to do something, or they're not doing what we want them to do, or, we're thinking about that. So every time, thought fields create connections with each other. And we've all had those nights when we've said something we didn't want to say, and we've stayed up at night mulling it over. Hi Neda. Mulling it over, thinking about it all night, going, I wish I hadn't said that, or why did I say that? Or, so we're still corded to the situation. We're still sending out a frequency that's tying us to that conversation. And these energies to the past tend to weigh us down a little bit, It's like we know those days when everything flows and all these little miracles are happening and you feel like anything's possible. You feel really, wow, clear and focused. They're the days when you're not feeling attached to anything, that nothing is interfering with your energy that day. And then you might, the next day or a few days later, you might have a conversation with someone and it brings you down. It makes you feel, oh shit. Or you read something and it makes you feel, gosh, why did I do that? I was feeling so good. Or why did I ring that person when I was feeling really good and I knew they weren't in a good space? And that's okay. It's okay to ring friends, family, people that you love and care about when you're in a good space, and share that with them. And it's also good to be able to hold space for them to get through what they need to get through. But what I'm talking about are those sort of, sometimes I see them, we talked about it with the psychic attack. It's sometimes people just cord to you when you're walking down the street. Or let's say you have to go into a hospital, or you have to go into a doctor's surgery or a clinic somehow. And people in there are holding a lot of worry, a lot of stress, a lot of pain, a lot of fear. And if you're sensitive, you'll pick up on that and you'll kind of hold it for them. In a way, we comfort those around us by holding it for them. So it's this sort of thing that I was guided to today, was this, how we hold on to negativity, how we hold on to these stray thoughts that can't, sometimes it's not even poignant to us, it's not important to us, it's just some random energy. It's like, I think the reason I want to go into that is because it's not always personal. We tend to think that a psychic attack, because we're talking about fourth dimensional frequencies here, these sort of things travel really strongly within the fourth dimension. It's thought fields. It's, one say, psychic attack. So it's not always personal. Sometimes it's just, you know, you can be with someone you really care about and they're just in a funky mood, and we tend to take it personally because we think, oh, why aren't they in a good mood? I'm here. Why are they so sullen? But they're allowed to be in the mood that they're in. And that's something that also comes to my awareness, is the fact that moving into 5D doesn't mean we're never ever going to have a bad day or get cranky. You know, you're still going to feel. Anger is not necessarily a bad emotion. It is when you do something as a result of the anger. But anger as an emotion itself is it's a response to something, you know, it's a reaction to something. So anger isn't necessarily a bad thing. You often hear people say, well, it was my anger that pushed me forward because I didn't want them to I wanted to show them that I am worthy and that I am capable. So my anger pushed me forward. So anger isn't necessarily a taboo emotion, you know. It's interesting how anger can really trigger people. If someone's angry around them, it's, oh, calm them down, calm down, be quiet. You know, we try to suppress these things all the time. And my feeling is more to, the quicker you express it, the quicker it's out. The way that you express it is important, but the quicker it's out, the better off you are, because then it's left your body. And then once it's left your body, there's an opening. It's like anything. After a healing, after a big release, there's always an opening. And what you place in your frequency after that release, that opening, is really important. So, you know, I used to say to people, well, you know, if you're going to get angry about something, get angry. Speak about what it is you want, not what you don't want. It's like, because it's a really strong energy. So if you're saying, I never get what I want, I'm always the last, blah, 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 then you, in your head, when you feel the anger coming on, I'm not talking about projecting it onto someone else, but you harness that anger and say, you know, I'm open to getting what I want. I'm ready to get what I want. I'm here, you know, sort of. I think sometimes, I know myself, when I do it when I'm alone, and I'll often say to people who are around me, look, I'm in a really bad mood, move away, kind of. I'm going into this room to calm myself, or I'm going out for a while to come back to myself. But I just need to be able to release what I'm feeling to get in contact with it. And the worst thing, it's like, you know, when a child is throwing a tantrum and you go and you smother it, calm down, the kid gets worse. Well, it's kind of like that with anger. The more you try to, someone else tries to suppress it, the angrier the person gets. So sometimes it's better to say to a person, hey, you know, I'm really being triggered. I'm really getting angry. It's best if I walk off. Don't try to calm them down and placate them and get them to be good because you're afraid. Let them go. Let them get out that anger. You know, this is really important. And you know, obviously as a therapist, allowing people to express the anger that they felt for a very long time is a huge component to healing. So that's a negative energy that is a really good one to release, right? And it's not so difficult to release it. And when you do, there's a gap. And it's the same when you release any negativity. Like if you, okay, I spoke about this guy before, Stuart Wilde. He's deceased now, but he wrote a book many years ago called The Force. It's a very small book, and it's a very simple explanation about frequency and energy and emotions. And his concept was, and I believe this to be true because I've often seen it with people, I've seen people hook into what I call a plane of existence. So they'll hook into it. They'll be hooked into the plane of existence of magical creativity, but they can also be hooked into the plane of existence of being a perpetual victim or suffering or pain or whatever. You can literally see a person riding that frequency. It's kind of going right through them. And that's what happens when we hook into, when negativity hooks into us. It hooks us into a plane of existence and gets us stuck there. And sometimes when we are in a family or a community where there may be a group of people with that collective scarring and pain, and they don't want you to leave the group. You know, they really don't want you to leave the group, because our connection is through that pain, that negativity and that scarring. It's like, you know how you have times in your life when you meet someone when you've just broken up the love of your life with the love of your life, and you meet a friend and they've done the same, and you commiserate together, and you kind of go through this stage of, you know, every time you meet, talking about your pain and what you went through and how much you gave and all of this sort of stuff. And then it kind of goes a bit wonky because one of you wants to get out of that pain, that victim, that sadness around relationship, and create a new relationship, bring in a new relationship. And in order to bring in a relationship that is different to the one that you just had, you need to be a different frequency, right? So one person will want to be a different frequency and the other one won't, and then the friendship kind of goes a bit pear-shaped. And it's because you met each other in the pain. You know, and we do that with friends, we do that with family. You know, I've seen families that have this thing that, you know, we're so unlucky, you know, this sort of thing's been happening in our family for generations, we've never been able to get out of it. It's that negativity that kind of drags you down to where they're at, and you're the one that's wanting to get out of it, and you can't because it's all corded to you. It's all, you know, heavy. And then there's the consequences of getting out of it. Do you leave all those people behind? Will some of those people still want to be your friend, even though you're not bitching about that situation, or you're not, you understand what I'm saying? So that's what tonight's healing is about. It's about releasing any negative chords or discordant frequencies you may be attached to. However, you're the one who chooses what they are. I'm not going to choose it's specifically this or specifically that, because guidance is simply going to bring through the energy to facilitate that. You're going to choose. You're going to have the memory or the feeling or the knowing of what it is. When young, not allowed to express, like a shadow, not allowed to show our emotions, beliefs that we will be abandoned, locked away in subconscious. Yeah, exactly. So you can't move out of the paradigm of the family. And even the interesting thing is, let's say, when you often find yourself, it's like, I'll give you an example. It's like you'll find yourself in the same family, but they're just different people. Like, you'll go to work, and you'll go to work in a job. I can't tell you how, Sasha, you would know this one quite well with clients, you know, how many people will come and they'll tell me about what's going on, the dynamics in their job. And then when we go through, we see that it's the same dynamic from the family. So the person in their work reminds them of the mother, the father, the siblings, you know, the uncle, whoever. You just take one reality and superimpose it into your adult life, into another reality, and you remain in the same plane of existence, the same frequency, the same types of people. It's the same with relationships. Some people, like I, would always attract a particular type of man. And, you know, you would go, oh, I can't do this anymore, whatever. And then you have to work through it to really, not only the plane of existence that you're in, the emotional unraveling, it's also the mental patterning as well that you find yourself doing. And then you unravel all the parts from your family, how your parents were in relationships. So personal, intimate relationships are the closest relationship you'll ever had. So obviously, a healing like this isn't going to change all of that, but it is going to make some awareness, for you to release a plane of existence from you, and then you can also go and seek some healing that will put the other pieces together and help you to move forward to the life that you want. Because trying to get the life that you want with the same frequency that you came from, you'll feel high for a little bit, but then you'll notice that you will bring in someone from your family, someone from your past, or that same relationship. It's very odd how we do this. Obviously, we do it till we learn the lesson, and once we learn the lesson and release it, we know that the healing's done because we're no longer experiencing it anymore. So this healing is about you being consciously aware of what exactly it is that you want to release, what aspect of it is, that you want to release. Whether it's that whole thing of actually being abandoned is a repeated pattern in one's life. It's a frequency that we ride, and we may understand it intellectually, but it still keeps happening. And I'm going to go back to the fact that the emotions are the glue for everything. So the electric part is the brain. The brain goes out, right? It sends out a signal into the atmosphere and says, hey, guess what? This is the thought field that I'm connected to, and this is what I want to bring into my life. And but the emotional, the magnetic part pulls it to us. So if these two things are not congruent, it's going to get very hard to create a reality that you like. What did you hear? What was the phrase that you heard today? When you speak English, you find the Englishman to speak with. Exactly. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I like that. So, you see what I'm saying? Like the emotional, the magnetic aspect goes out. It emanates out, but it draws to you like a magnet, draws to you what you feel you deserve, what you feel to be your truth. Even if your mind is saying over and over and over again, I never want to do that again. I never want to go through that again. I'm not experiencing that again, blah, 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 blah. Your mind will say this, but your magnetic field, which is part of the planes of existence that you're hooked into, it's a frequency, it draws it to you again and again and again. And I remember years ago really looking at this with clients, because obviously, in the 80s and 90s, we didn't fully understand everything, the way energy works, the way the feelings are magnetic and draw things to us. And I remember being really stuck with something, and obviously analysing with people, working through all their patterns. And I remember one day just going, why? We know what it is. We've analysed it to death. Why isn't it going? And magically guidance came to me and said, have you looked at the feelings? Have you looked at the images that this person is holding, the magnetic pull? And I'm like, what's that all about? And I mean, I've mentioned this before, the experience I had with the Palladians and their craft, and how they explained that they use soulmates to drive them, and how that works energetically. And it all made a lot of sense to me. The whole thing just went click, 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 click. So then I started really working on people's emotions and the imaging that they had, and then people were healing really fast and things started to move very quickly. So I like to address that part of things, and you'll notice in all these healings, that's the most part that I'm addressing, because all of you know your shit. You all know in your mind what you're dealing with, and you're all capable of figuring it out. So you don't necessarily need me to do that. What you're requiring sometimes is that magnetic field, that plane of existence, to be alleviated so that you've got, because remember the field of magnetics is very big. You've got more energy to utilize to bring in what it is that you want to hold down. Like when we want to hold something in our space, like, okay, if let's say you live in a normal size house and you're used to living in a normal size house with a bit of a garden, and then you go and you live in a very small apartment, maybe a 1-bedroom apartment with no balcony, no garden, no nothing. Suddenly your energy is going to feel really, really squashed. And you're going to be overly sensitive to the noises that the neighbours are doing, right? Because you're used to this big space. Now, let's say you grew up in a small space and you're used to all those noises, and then suddenly you go into a big space, and that's scary too because it's so quiet and there's so much space, and your energy's not used to holding it, so you feel uncomfortable. Maybe you feel unprotected, unsafe, you know, because you're used to this tiny little space. So there's these two parts of us, aspects of us that we understand. In one, our energy is really big and we can hold all of these things, and in the other one, our energy is really small, but sometimes our energy being small makes us feel safe. Just saying. When we release planes of existence like ribbons of energy, we give our energy field more space, which means that we can hold more physical components to reality within it, which could be, for some people, more work. It could be more friends. It could be another child. It could be a bigger home. Everybody has different reality, right, of what they want to hold in their space. It's not that you know, the divine looks down and goes, oh, look, there's one with more space, let's give them this, and everybody gets the same thing. No, it's designed specifically for you. What would you like to hold in your space? How much more space would you like to gather around you? So that's what this healing's about. It's like clearing the space of you so that you can hold more in your space. And sometimes when we clear the space, we get clarity around other things that we can release or, you know, come to terms with or what have you. So, as I said, sorry, I don't know, they're spraying us like bugs, and now I've got this annoying thing in my nose from breathing in all this shit that they're spraying around. So I have to do the neti pot to clean out all my sinuses and everything because of the chemicals, and get my breathing machine, which I forgot to take with me today when I went out, which is why I've got this nose thing that's annoying me. So it's up to you to think about what aspect or what plane of existence are you willing to release. So it can be the plane of existence of abandonment, always emotionally being afraid that you're going to be left alone. So what does that feel like? Does it feel like there's no one there for you to anchor to? That if you're not good, no one will love you? And if you're not always good, things will be taken from you? What exactly is it? Think about that. And also, excuse me, I'm going to have to cough. It may be for some of you that you're really tired because a lot of people are draining you. Maybe, you know, where you work. Anything with customer service, anything with people, you're going to get connected to. So, you know, when you see these, you go into, I have to just have another drink. And I really dislike this, but anyway, it happens. You'll go into somewhere, whether it's to renew your driver's license, a government building, hello from India, whether it's a government building or something like that, and the people that are serving you are very, they don't make any contact, they don't connect, you know, they're very distant, right? And in a lot of ways, when you're in that field, you have to be distant because we have learnt that if we connect with people, we'll be taken advantage of, or we'll have to do more than what we're paid for, or something like that. So you get that thing of people being distant sometimes, and it can make you feel really awful because there's no connection. Because all of us want connection in our lives. We all want. That's what anchors us to this planet, is connection, actually. So we have that. But if you're really sensitive or you're an empath and you really love your job, you're not going to be like that. So exactly. So what happens is that you connect with everyone, right? You connect with everyone because you want to feel that they understand that you understand them, right? So you're kind of picking up on their anxiety, you want to calm them down, you know, you're picking up on what they're feeling, and so you're engaging them in a way that makes them feel more comfortable, right? So that's going to cord you here or here. It's going to cord you because now you've moved into their energy. We used to do this thing, you know, I've spoken about this before when I would work with I worked with a shaman, well, I trained with a shaman for years, and he called it merging. So I'd have to do this thing where I'd merge with people and pick up everything about them. I could feel who they were, what they've been through, and I can do it with a tree or a blade of grass or whatever, but that's part of learning how to read people, is to be able to merge with them. And we do that automatically, even if we don't understand that's what we're doing. So when we merge with someone, because we want to make them feel safe and comfortable and, you know, purchase whatever it is we're selling, whatever it may be, when that person goes, we're still corded to that person. So, you know, I've said this many times, the best thing to do is to get in water, because water is a psychic conductor. What I find interesting is we're basically created in a field of water in the mother's womb. Our bodies are mostly water, so we have such a connection with water, which is emotion. Yet, in society, we've been told not to be emotional, that emotions are bad, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm not going to go too deeply into that, but I'm sure I've clicked a few people with this. So, if you can get into some water, like have a shower or get in the water, and just say, in the name of Jesus Christ or the divine or whatever you want to say, God, whomever, I cleanse this body, and allow the water to cleanse your body. And then you say, cut, sever, and disintegrate any cords running to me and from me that are not of love and above. You consciously do this. It's not, I mean, I see this a lot because I used to work in very religious countries with very religious people, and they do a lot of praying, but there's no connection. And that always used to really, yeah, exactly. Looking at the water is a release. It's like, I'm giving this to the water. The water will cleanse it because that's what it does. But yeah, even highly religious people that feverishly pray all the time are not connected to anything. It's very weird. So the reason I'm saying that is because when you do something like that, it's like a ritual. It's a ritual. And when you're in a ritual, You need to be present. So it's not like, I have a holy God, you know, just do this and do that, and it's the Christmas list, right? Don't do that, because it won't work. It won't work, and then you'll get the shits and you'll say that didn't work. You have to be present. Feel the water. Close your eyes. Make a connection with the divine. And ask for the water to cleanse your body. Call on the divine, the angels, whoever you feel connected to. Ask them to cut, sever, disintegrate all cords running to you and from you that are not of love and above. And just close your eyes for that moment. Don't be over here in the past, in the future, nothing. Just be in the moment. And allow that to happen. It takes a minute. And you'll feel so much better. And ask yourself each day, where am I placing the magnet? Where am I placing my emotions? What am I magnetically drawing to myself today? It's why in the meditation on Saturday we often do I am, all is. We'll attach love to it, or peace, or something like this into our field. We have to consciously do it. If you say in your head, and I've, lots of people do this. I'm placing in my field. I'm placing in my field that I'm going to attract only good people today. But you haven't connected to your field at all. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And then you get the shits and you get upset. This stuff doesn't work. The key to this stuff working is for you to have a connection with yourself in that present moment. For you to be the point of creation is here now, this point. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but here right now. This is your strongest point of creation. If you want to manifest something, you have to manifest it in the present moment. So be very present with these rituals that you do, these beautiful things that you do for yourself each day. So this is about you choosing what plane of existence are you been magnetically pulling to yourself that no longer serves you, that you're hooked into, and we're going to release it. And it's up to you to feel and make the decision of what it is, not me. So as I said, it can be abandonment. It can be anything. It can be one thing that comes to my head, so it's probably got to do with someone here, is, how sometimes you can work somewhere and you're the one person that gets dumped on. You're the one who has to stay behind. You're the one who has to do that extra bit because the other person's being really slack. You're the one that people go to when they need all the time, something completed at work. So, and it's like, on one hand, it's a compliment because you feel good, because you feel needed, you feel wanted, you feel important. But on the other hand, it's a trap because maybe they're taking advantage of you and they can do it, but they don't want to do it. It's like that person, and it can happen, who takes credit for what you did because it was assigned to them. That's what I'm talking about. So it's not that I'm not taking away that you're good at your job and people love what you do and everything else like that. I'm talking about that person or situation that happens when you just getting all this crap. That's right. Well, exactly. I used to go to the Buddhist Vihara a lot and do the silent retreats. I personally didn't connect with Vipassana, the Vipassana retreats. I preferred to go to the monks and do it with them in a temple. And that for me was a massive opening of understanding what meditation truly is. So yeah, very, very interesting. So let's start with this healing. So think about, feel what it is that you're hooked into. It's a plane of existence that maybe you're hooked into it too, like I said earlier, because there are other people who are around you who are also hooked into it, and so you're like a little clique, and that makes you feel kind of part of something. You feel connected to those people. I think everyone kind of knows what I'm talking about here, you know, and it's not always easy to move out of that clique because they're holding you there. So they're holding you in a plane of existence of, could be poverty, it could be victimhood, struggle, fear, intimidation. Think of, you know, get it clear. Feel it in your body somewhere. How does it? Yeah, feeling trapped. Well, that's right, you know. Some people, I get what you're saying about that feeling trapped, because people, what really I can't stand is when people tell me it's impossible. It's not possible. It's like I want to hit them. It's a thing that makes me kind of angry is when someone says, it's impossible. No, I can't. It's impossible. Because that impossible traps everyone around them in that plane of existence that we cannot move. So therefore we're trapped. We can't move out of this paradigm and experience something new because we're all trapped here together, and it's impossible to go up against the government. It's impossible to find a doctor to do this. It's impossible to find a decent school. It's impossible, you know, and yet the interesting thing is, when you release yourself from that plane of existence and you open yourself up to anything is possible, you'd be amazed what will come into your life. Absolutely amazed. And so this is, yeah, these are all really good things. So feel, where does that feel in your body? Where do you know, who are the people associated with it? Because this is about releasing from them as well, right? Feeling trapped too, which is so frustrating. Exactly. So it's like, who are the people that are trapping you? What are they? The guardians of entrapment, you know? So I'm no longer willing to be trapped in this crap, you know? I'm no longer willing to create this with you. It's this sort of thing. So when you see those people, or when you think of those people, for some of you, when you've got people involved, when you see them or you think of them, be really strong in your mind. Remember, if your mind is clear, if you have clarity, you're the dominant energy of creation. An unclear mind creates chaos. If your mind is clear and you have no doubt and it stays that way, that other person will get out of the way because your mind is clear, right? So think about those people, even see them. And what I do is I go, I'm unwilling to, when I think of them or I see them physically, I just hear it in my head and I feel it in my energy, like moving towards them. It's like, hi, Brazil. I go, I'm unwilling. I am unwilling to create this with you. I'm unwilling to participate in this with you. And I literally do that with my mind and my frequency. You know, it's not leave me alone, I can't stand you. It's just, I'm unwilling. You know, have compassion. We're moving from victim, persecutor, rescuer to clarity, compassion, creation. We're moving from that old paradigm to this new one. That's exactly it. So we're moving, and we have to get clear in our heads. And when we're clear in our head and our energy and we have compassion for the other person, the compassionate thing is not to create it with them, not to entangle with them karmically, right? Not to give it any energy, that paradigm, any energy whatsoever, so that you're not later on in the day going, I knew I should have said no. You know, I'm really angry with them because once again, I find myself in this situation. It's their fault, and etc., etc. So we're going to let go of all cords that are not of love and above, and a plane of existence that you're hooked into that's trapping you in that existence. Planes of existence are like a frequency, like a radio wave frequency that our energy hooks in, and it doesn't like to leave because it's comfortable. We know it. It's like, you know how they have that saying, better the devil you know? Better to be surrounded by people that you actually can know what they're going to do and you're all suffering together than it is to go out there and experience something you don't know, because that can be very scary, right? So it's letting go of that plane of, think about the plane of existence, feel it, the energy cords. Okay, so let's start. You just need to get yourself in a comfortable position. Please do not drive or do anything like that for the healing part. You can beforehand, but with the healing part, I'm asking you not to. I don't want to be responsible for you experiencing something you don't need to experience. When I'm finished, I will just say, have a nice evening, thank you very much, and let you go. So let's go. So if you feel to, close your eyes. Allow yourself to feel the rhythm of your breath, the sound of the breath, the feeling of the breath. And very gently, we're calling in your guiding lights to stand around you, to provide a protective space for healing, for letting go. They may also provide awareness and insight. Very good. So we're simply going to begin by releasing all cords running to you and from you that are not of love, unconditional love and above. All cords represented by people, media, and technology that are discordant energies are being released. discordant energies from beneath your feet. The places you've walked upon, the houses, the buildings you've been in. Just doing a clearing on your feet now. Okay. And all discordant frequencies, all the conversations, the emotions, the frequencies that have ran through your body from technology, from people, that your body resonated with and held on to. However, it no longer serves you. We're clearing this now. Any energies or entities on the outside of your field, hangers around, being released, setting you free now. Call in the Hanani now, the masters of frequency, to release you from the plane of existence, a frequency within the atmosphere that's trapping you in a reality that no longer serves you. No longer serves your thoughts, your feelings, your life, your path. And although that may mean moving forward and letting go places, people, things, you're choosing to do so. You're choosing to expand your frequency now and be free. from your crown chakra all the way up, out into the universe, and it goes through your body, is your core pillar, your link to the divine, pure white light. I want you to concentrate on that beautiful light coming down into your crown and into your body. And allow that light to spread out from your body into your auric field and out into the room, pushing away, releasing the plane of existence that's kept you trapped. For that plane of existence no longer serves you or the planet. It no longer serves your journey. Right now, the only plane of existence you're connected to is the divine. And the divine, anything is possible. Unlimited. And it's flowing through your body and out into your auric field. now I'm going to leave you. I want you to stay connected to that divine and use that as your connection, your source. Lots of love.